So in this particular lecture, let's work on styling up our web page. So in order to style up our web page, the very first thing which we are going to be doing here is that we will be using Tailwind CSS. So we all know that we could add CSS to our website so as to make it look attractive. But the problem with CSS is that CSS is pretty hard to master, and obviously if you're not familiar with CSS, it can get quite tedious. You need to add a couple of classes, so on and so forth. You also need to set a different set of properties as well for different elements. But with Tailwind, especially when you are using Tailwind with something like React or Django, whenever you have to design components or whenever you have to create templates. So in Django right now we are working with templates, and let's say you only want to have inline styling. And what do I mean by inline styling is that, let's say you only want to write CSS, or you only want to design your entire web page by adding some code to the template, and let's say you don't have to work with an external CSS file. In such cases, using Tailwind is extremely crucial. Now I know that this is not a Tailwind specific course, but I think Tailwind is a must even for backend developers if they are working with Django, especially the Django templates, because obviously if you design a Django website and if you do not style it, it's going to look something like that. And the best part about Tailwind is that you don't need to put as much effort into learning Tailwind as opposed to what effort is required for learning CSS, and therefore we are going to be using Tailwind throughout the course. And unlike other courses, I'm not going to skip that part. I'm actually going to cover Tailwind in a little bit detail so that even you could get started with Tailwind and start using it. And one of the best things about Tailwind is that you don't have to be a front-end expert. You could just use some of the Tailwind classes, add them inline to your HTML templates right away, and you would be up and running. So this is the reason why I recommend that you go through this particular section even if you don't feel like it, and you will be familiar with Tailwind in no time, and you will be surprised to see how easier it is as compared to regular CSS. So from the next lecture onwards, let's go ahead and let's start setting up Tailwind for our Django project, and it's much more easier than you think. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.